Hey everybody, today I want to talk about the Game & Watch. This is the actual mini version of the original Game & Watch that came out in the 1980s. They were out there for about 11 years. About 43 million units of these things were sold. After it was discontinued, they were like reincarnated back in the late 90s and they were shrunk into this version. The original versions were a little bit bigger than this, and they were more like in a landscape, they had more of a landscape mode type game. But these units have the same gameplay, same chipset, everything, but they're very small so that they can fit on a keychain. So let's look at the Game & Watch. So, anybody out there who is a hardcore gamer from back in the 90s would remember that famous handheld video game console called the Nintendo Game Boy. It was the size of a brick. It ran off of AA batteries. I believe there were 4 AA batteries that ran this thing. And the games ran on this pasty green like screen, and you had hours and hours of fun playing Super Contra and Mario Brothers and you name it. Donkey Kong on this device. It pretty much took the world by storm, and anybody who's a really hardcore gamer would remember the good old-fashioned Game Boy. So today's video is actually about Game Boy's predecessor, pretty much the brains behind the original Game Boy. I'm talking about the good old-fashioned Game & Watch games. They came out. The first one was Ball, that came out in 1980. Okay, 1980. That's like 35 years ago. Anyway, so the designer, Gunpei Yokoi. So forgive me if I pronounced your name wrong, Mr. Yokoi, but you know, I'm just excited to be talking about this game because I love them. Growing up as a kid as well, because they were available in the 90s as well. You can get them secondhand. Anyway, so these games, they came out in 1980 with the first one, Ball, and I had a ton of other titles that came out. This product line lasted for 11 years, so they were discontinued in 1991. And between that time, over 11 years, would you believe that over 43 and a half, or just under 43 and a half million units were sold? All right, that's a lot of Game & Watches in the 1980s, man. Anyway, the successor there was the Game Boy, and we all know about Game Boy right now. That's turned into what now? The Nintendo 3DS is like the latest evolved version, I would say, of the Game & Watch. All right, started with the Game & Watch, then you evolved to the Game Boy, and now you have the Nintendo 3DS. So, that being said, ta-da! Here is the reincarnated version of the Game & Watch. This is not the original design. The original design actually was more of a landscaped version. It was a bit wider than this. It would be about, roughly, they were ranging in size, but an average size one I would say would be about 4 by 2.5 inches in landscape mode. This version you're looking at right now is actually a reincarnated version that came out in the late 90s. So what Nintendo did, they licensed some of the popular titles of the Game & Watch, and this new version is actually in the form of a miniaturized Game Boy. So those of you who are familiar with the Game Boy, this is actually a mini version of it with the Game & Watch program running on it. So you're looking at, this one is not Super Mario Brothers. This one is Donkey Kong Jr. So those of you who remember Donkey Kong Jr., you're this little ape and you have to navigate your way to the top left hand corner of the screen. You have to jump and catch a key, and you have to unlock the cage to let out Donkey Kong, and of course you have to do it 4 times to get him, set him free. And once you've done that, then you have to do it all over again, and that's all you did. Funny enough, it sounds boring, but when you really get into the gameplay, because it speeds up and it gets more challenging, it becomes a lot of fun. What would be really cool is if you gave this to like a kid today, tell them this is a video game, play it. It would be really, really cool to see their reaction. So this obviously would be for the 30 plus people that are 30, 40, 50 years old. They would remember these. So this is let's look at this one. This has the D-pad, so we can see where the D-pad, the popular D-pad, that Nintendo is well known for has come from. Then there are two game modes, A and B, and then you have your jump button. So the buttons are plastic, and funny enough, they feel remarkably great for something this small. And this is very cheap, by the way. These can sell for around $10, very cheap. I mean, they're keyring sized. So let's quickly do a demo of a game here. So I'm going to be Donkey Kong Jr. So to start the game, you just press A. Game A starts. So let's go. So what I have to do is dodge the prehistoric birds and the deadly crocodiles. Oh, coconut. And I have to catch this key. That's one. So I'll do it again. Oh. So I have 3 lives. I missed out. I'll do it again. Oh, I'm out again. I'm already rusty. And of course it speeds up and gets more challenging. I'm out. So that's it. Fun game. So what's cool about this, as I said, it looks like a miniature Game Boy. What it comes with as well is this nifty little kickstand. Let me just take it out here. Just get my little tool here and show you. There's a little kickstand here that comes out, right? And it's like that, so you can actually put it on your desk, and while you're working away, you can look at the game while it's playing in screensaver mode. And it's a game. It's based on the Game & Watch series. So what does that mean? Well, you have a game and a built-in watch. So you can tell time and also have fun playing Donkey Kong Jr. So to give you an idea of the size, I mean, it's supposed to be small enough to be a keyring. Here's a paperclip, and as you can see, it really is small because the paperclip is small. Right. What other fun facts about this handheld? I believe I said over just under 43.5 million units were sold. It's a lot of units. So this is Donkey Kong Jr. There's some other cool titles that are available today. You can actually get Mario Cement Factory, and you can't forget Super Mario Brothers, right? Now these units sell for about $10 each. You can get them on eBay. They may vary in price depending on demand and availability. Yeah, so I really wanted to show these off today. So this is more for the nostalgic gamer who remembers back in the days of vacuum tube televisions and watching Magnum PI, and there wasn't much there wasn't much variety in terms of watching television. So if you missed there wasn't, I mean, back in those days we didn't have video on demand, right? So if you miss your favorite show, you might as well pick up your favorite Game & Watch game of Donkey Kong Jr. and play away for hours. Anyway, so that's my review of the Game & Watch series. Again, just to reiterate, these are not the original Game & Watches. These are actually I call them the reincarnated versions of the originals that were around from the 1980s and early 90s. These ones came out and were available like in the late 90s, and they still are. You can still find a couple of these today, and they're very, very cheap and they're fun to play. And what also I will tell you is that although the look and feel of the actual hardware looks different, the gameplay is identical to the original Game & Watches. Same sound, same gameplay, same graphics, everything, because it's based on it uses the same chipset from the original Game & Watches. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you have not already. I do plan to be bringing out videos. The ideal goal will be to have a new video every day, and I'm also creating a blog site as well. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, a lot of fun things coming through. So have fun and play hard.